Hello, I'm here. I didn't forget that I was muted this time. And it's been a short hiatus, but it's nice to see you all. Um, yes, it is I. I return after a small hiatus due to some personal problems that cropped up, but I hope you're all doing okay in the meanwhile. It is me. I'm here commentating round 9 of season 9 of the League of MVP round here at the lovely Singapore circuit, my favourite. If you are a viewer of the regular, I love this track. It's a beauty of a track. One of the tracks that I exclusively drive. And it's lovely to see you here. Roy, good evening. Let's hope for a good race. Yes, let's hope. Apologies for the late start on the mic there. I was just dealing with a few technical faults, but we should be all okay to go. And I'm just waiting on call from race control to say that we are good to go. A few things have changed while I've been gone. Just like I think there was 2 races which happened while I was gone. I believe it was. No, it was. Sorry, I did commentate Dutch. I missed Montreal. No, I missed Brazil and Montreal, so I did miss 2 rounds. One of those rounds was a sprint race. For that, I apologize. I'll update you all on the standings right now as I have them. So, for those who care about the standings, and we are going to get going in a minute. I've just seen race control typing there. The current standings, right. It is to my understanding that after today, if David DePay finishes it without losing 10 points to Lazy, he does take the championship today. I think if it ties, he does win on race wins as well. So essentially, if he loses more than 10 points, the race goes to the finale, which I don't remember where that is. I probably should know that. But no, David 149, Lazy 112, AJ 100, Hamby 94, Burr 72, Sign 52, Oechi 48, Mamba 43, Ninebread 42, Josh 31. Those are the top 10 in the standings currently. And Constructors Rise, Aston Martin have clenched it by a mile, 249. Mercedes 170, McLaren 146. And then I believe it's P5 where it gets interesting, but Ferrari in P4 first, at 122. Haas, then this is where it gets interesting. Haas and Alpine, equal points, 43. Williams in 7th, 40. Red Bull in 8th, 40. So P5 to P8, the battle is on there. So look, drivers to look out for, of course, David at the front. Haas, Alpine, Williams, and Red Bull are all going to be fighting for that P5 in the upcoming races, and we're going to see how that pans out across the next following weekends. And I'm excited because we finally get to go to my favorite racing circuit, also known as Singapore. God, there's one F1 track that I want to go to that isn't the one up the road from me, which is Silverstone, for those who are unaware. It would be this one. It would be Singapore. I love it so much, and the atmosphere as well is just lovely. It's a night race, and it's just beautiful. It is utterly beautiful, and the track as well. It's just mwah. They've changed it, but it's still a great track. But no, it is a beautiful track. And we've had a late joiner, Burmeister. I believe he missed a couple races. And I am also aware that we had some technical difficulties last race. And hopefully those will get resolved. I am here for Dave Alvin. What's up, Jake? Nice to see you. But here we go. 18 minutes Q1. Just to catch you up on a few things. Embiid Prime, I believe that is B process. So I will not be saying Embiid Prime, and if I do say anything, it'll be Prime. And probably it'll be Process. But if I do say Prime, that is who I mean. Prime and Process, same people, different names. But no, okay, so Alpine, we got two Alpines, we have one Red Bull, we have definitely we should have two Hasses, but I think we've only got one, and we've got, what was the other team, Alfa Romeo? No, it was Williams, and we've got one, one Williams, one Haas, one Red Bull, and two Alpines. And as the team principal of Alpine, and I say that, I haven't really done much for the team. Bless their souls, they've been doing so much by themselves. Sondre is missing tonight for Haas. So what you're telling me, Roy, is that Alpine are in the best odds right now, in this middle fight. That's what I'm hearing, and that's what I'm going with. Snoop and Smidge are on the way. Damn it! They're on their way. Well, there's a chance. There's a chance that they don't show up. There's a chance. There's a chance. I could dream. The Alpine, they've been working together, them two. I owe it to them a lot. Let me actually go take a look at them instead of looking at the pit lane. I owe it to these lot. They have really together worked themselves out, and that is sort of what I had in aims for the team. That they were going to work themselves out together, and that is what they've done, and they've done it really well. So I am really proud of my two drivers, and I haven't really needed to do much, haven't really needed to step in. We've missed a couple races, we've been very laxed, but it is what it is, and hopefully maybe next season we'll continue this on. I know they're working together a lot. We haven't had great results. We have had some highlights. But I love them to death, and they're doing a great job. So keep going, Samba, and keep going, Mike, Team Red. You're doing a fantastic job. Even though our car is a bit bad, but we'll make do. We'll make do, lads. Thank you so much for all the effort you put in this season. It's not the last race, but thank you nonetheless. We have got a yellow flag in Sector 3. I do believe that might just be a small, whoopsie slow car. We have got some laps going on now. Cami Nova isn't out on a lap, but David is. So I think David's going to be the first one here to reach the line. He has to take a pretty wide line there because of that car. I know that is his racing line. I know it very well could have been. It looked a bit wide. But going into Singapore Sling now, pretty nice set of corners this. You've got a break coming up to here just before that wall there. Beauty nailed the braking point, going to swing it on around, take it as wide as you can on exit to get that best acceleration and grip down into this now longer straight coming up, as we have cut out an entire section of the track, which is very sad, but I know it has sped things up. And it is a welcome addition. A little bit more straight line, never hurt anybody. But now into like a secondary sling, coming now, swinging onto the main straight. Team Red was the first one to set a lap of 1:38.89. But it's going to be David DePay to set a 2-second faster lap time, a 1:28.928 in the Aston Martin. Josh Morton behind a 1:29.342 in the AlphaTauri. I believe they're a bit out of contention, but they could bring themselves into it if they finish like strong like this in qualifying in the race. I'm pretty sure they might be able to sneak on up in to that lower midfield fight just before the final race. But they would need a pretty strong result to do so. Roy, a 1:37.41. Thomas DG, a 1:32.69. Nice. Ladies but talented, a 1:30.018. That's a bit slow for Mark. I thought he was a big fan of Singapore, Mark. I might be mistaken. But I thought he liked this circuit. Maybe just a bad lap. I mean, he's been, not to say that Man Blue's any slow or Josh is any slow, but he's been outpaced by 2 drivers. He might just be having a little bit of a poor quali, bad lap. Let's give him the whole of quali. Let's not put the pressure on him too much. Yeah, but it's Lazy and David, the 2 people you need to look out for. Lazy can make 10 gap if he can reduce. How do I say this without having a stroke every time I want to say it? If he can make it so that he gains more than 10... No. Let's sort this out now so we don't have a big... Let's have a big brain fart now so we don't have lots of small ones later. Essentially, if Lazy could finish within 10 points of David... That's it, we'll run with that. If Lazy can finish within 10 points of David, the championship hopes are still alive. But quite slim, it would require probably a DNF in the final race from David, but it's not impossible. I believe we have seen not sloppy shows from David. Yes, a bit sloppy from David, which have led into a couple accidents this season. No discredit to his driving. But he is not a robot, he is not a machine. Mistakes can happen, and they will happen. So whether or not they will happen on the final race. But the pressure does mount, and pressure makes diamonds, but pressure also breaks a lot of things that aren't diamonds. And people are being very careful not to speed into the pit lane. Today, Mark needed to gain more than 10 points. Yeah, I was trying to figure out a nice way to say it, Roy. Just because I could say that Mark needs to gain 10 points, but that's not necessarily true, because if Mark gains 10 and David gains 21, the point difference is still more than 10, so he still wins it. So I'm just being very careful with how I word it. But yeah, if in total Mark gains 10 points on David, if David doesn't lose, what was it? David doesn't lose 10 points to Mark. If David doesn't lose 10 points to Mark, he wins. Yes. Gains 10 net points on David. Yes, that is a good way. If Lazy gains 10 net points on David, it should work. Hamby, I don't know what it is with the McLarens. They don't like qualifying. They always seem to crash out. I don't know if it's strategy. I don't know if it's superstition. I don't know what the reason cause behind it is. But it's interesting, nonetheless. If it's retirements, I guess we'll never know. And Roy's on his outlap. Since he's been talking to me in chat, I'll show him a little bit of attention. He's spending more time talking to me in chat than he is actually driving on the road. But it also implies that he can hear me now, talking into his ear. Roy, yeah, good line there, yeah, taking it nice, wide. Down the straight, throttle down, Roy. Yeah, you got this, Roy. He's gonna box it. He's gonna be like, that was so annoying. Into secondary sling, going on his first flying lap. You know what? Let's come and take this whole flying lap. Because why not? Here we go. Down. The start finish straight, starting off into turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's a nice little tight complex here. At the start, a few drivers will run wide, most likely. Pretty tight. Nails it very well. The walls here are your limiting factor. Push to those limits. Going around nice and fast through there. Onto the first straight of the track. Going around here. It's nice and long, this one. Into a sharp left-hander. Into an even sharper right-hander. Nice and well managed through there. Coming up now onto the straight before the sling. which is going to be the main point of failure, I think, for most of these drivers, if not turn 1 or 2 or the turns after the sling. Handles it very well. Got to hit the braking point right here. And he does that pretty well, brings it around nice and tidy, gets on the edge of that wall, ready for throttle. There is a car in front. Is going to pick up a little bit of a toe into another, even sharper right-hander. Nails that one well, takes it nice and wide, keeps it within the track limits. Down this newly added straight, getting a lovely little bit of toe from Lazy or Supernova. I think it might be Lazy, since the lack of slowdown. Gets very close with that wall there, but handles it very well through the final corner. Nice and full throttle down. It's P8 at 1:32.07 for Roy 27. Good job from him. I'll give him some air now. The pressure was surely mounting on that lap. He says they retire on purpose. Fair enough, Roy, fair enough. Check in on my Alpine here, Team Red, handling this Sector 2 pretty well out the final corner, nice and tidy, very wonderfully. Down the main straight, I think that was Cammy, a 1:30 dead. I have not seen a perfectly dead time in a while. And he has hit the go slow button there, Team Red. I think he might abort that lap. Let's just admire the 1:30 dead Cammy has just put out here. Satisfactory. Usually you see like 1:28 deads, but a 1:30 is such a round number. Perfectly 1:30. I think if he sets another time, it's criminal. But he has to. So get back out there, Cammy. Set a faster lap. It is back to Josh Morton. Lazy has made up for that less than optimal lap. A 1:28.9. David, a 1:28.850 into the pit lane. We're running short on qualifying time, so I think it's about time that the lads start thinking about pitting, getting in for this final lap, and I think that's what Roy here is going to do. He's coming in. I don't think we've got a lot of time left. We've got 5 minutes. I think that's at least one more in and out. So the drivers are going to stay in for a while. And then they will head out. I wonder why the McLaren boys retire. I've never asked them. If they retire on purpose, I need to ask them. If they end up in my interview today, it's a question I will definitely hold for them. Because I always thought it was, at first time it happened, I thought, oh, maybe a penalty. Second time I saw it, I was like, huh. And third time, I'm just like, okay, what on earth? It must be superstition or something. Ooh, Burmeister running a bit wide there. But somehow still legal. Whether or not that gains him time, I don't know. Will be interesting to see though. He's currently sat at 1:30. Currently not looking too hot on the timing sheets. This isn't the Burmeister I know. And he's taking it very fast. I don't think this is a go slow lap. If it was, he has run out of ERS deployment though, so I think it might be a go slow lap. I don't know. It's really confusing. I can't tell. Smidge and Dino are both here now. We are missing Snoop. Oh, Snoop is here. So we have two Williams, two William I, two Red Bulls, a Haas, and two Alpines. But the Alpines, 4th and 11th. He wasn't in lap for Burr. The Red Bulls, 13th, 14th. The Williams, 14th and 9th. I think Alpine, best position currently, and the Roy and the Haas is 10th. Alpine best position with Mamba in 4th. Could we be? And I could finally say we, because I am the team principal. Can we as Alpine maybe pull off a strong finish? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing in this situation. But here we go. Last lap's out. 3 minutes left on the clock. Mamba getting out kind of early, I think. But there's an Alpine coming along the straight. Is that Williams? I think it's another Alpine. Coming down along the straight. Maybe for a little bit of a toe, possibly. It's not. It's a Williams. Never mind. I thought it would have been some nice team play from the boys. There was in fact no team play to be had. Roy's out on an outlap, Awechi's out. I think on a flyer and inner. I think it was a flyer, assuming that he's gone around there. It's a 129.19 from Awechi in the Ferrari, and he's into P3. I haven't seen him that high for a while. Very impressive there from Awechi. Burmeister, his teammate, can join him, which I think he definitely has the capabilities to get up there on the timing sheets. It could be really strong start for Ferrari, which probably won't help him out too much constructors wise, since they're the fair bit off McLaren. But it might, if McLaren has a stinker and they're currently starting dead last, they might be able to hold off and pull off some magic. Who knows? Who knows? Thank you to everyone tuning in. We've got 1 minute 45 left of short qualifying, and then we're going to be at you with the racing action very shortly. Yes, I'm just taking a short breather as everyone's going out on their outlaps. Roy's out on a flyer, approaching a slower moving Ferrari. I'll be oh my god. You know I'm back when the yawning's returned. Hooey. Roy, nice and tidy through there. Well done. And while we're talking about well done on Josh Morton for his podium on the last race, which I was not here to see. I believe he wants to come in during this podium celebration and say hi. I won't ask him about his race, but he just wants to say hi and make his presence known. And if I forget, oh well, I guess, but hopefully I'll remember. Awechi, I think he's going for a double flyer. He hasn't gone an in lap, and he doesn't have a time to get this lap in. He must be recharging, but his light's still blinking. Unless he's going on a recharge lap now? I'm really confused of what he's trying to pull here. Or maybe other lights just blinking because it's dark. I have a feeling the lights might just be blinking because it was in recharge mode. I don't think his light's blinking anymore. Oh no, his light's still blinking. But that's definitely a fast lap from Awechi. He's going to be cooking that one up. In a moment, who's this coming up to the line? It's Thomas DG on an out lap. He's going to start his final flying lap of the night. As the checkered flag comes out, Dino Process and Thomas DG take the checkered flag. He was just a bit shy there to start one final lap. 6 thousandths off Cammy's perfect time. But Smidge here, first time on the board. It's not looking awfully quick. It's going to get him P13 above his teammate. But any position's good position. Mamba, a 129.6, finishing P5. David retires. Cammy P6 a 129.743. Supernova 129.812. Thomas DG has stayed where he is. Who's next across the line? It's going to be the other Alpine. Team Red across the line into P8 a 129.969. Beauty of a time, and not because it said 6.9. And Josh Morton dethrones David a 128.689. Well done to him. I think David retiring though, because he didn't quite feel he could put out a fast lap. Lazy takes P3 a 128.9. Noechi takes P4 with a 129.1. And then Mamba, Cammy, Supernova, will go over all of that in a minute. Burmeister just outside the top 10 P level at 131.57. Snoopy for Williams a 130.015. We're going to go over all the positions and all the things in a minute. Once I actually get the final results, when Roy decides he wants to come into the pit lane. Happy Easter, Davey boy. Happy Easter, Jake, and happy Easter to everyone in the stream. Happy Easter to all the drivers. I bet they didn't expect to be spending their Easter afternoon like this. I hope they all enjoyed their immense amount of food for lunch. They are running very high on the fuel And on the mass today, those cars maybe a couple kilograms heavier than they should be. But let's take a quick look at this. Mrs. Phantom, aka Josh Morton, P1, David DePay, P2 for Aston Martin. Lazy but talented, not too far behind on his heels, P3. Look out for that into turn 1. Oechi, P4 for Ferrari. Mamba, P5 for Alpine. Pretty critical in that fight for, I forget if it's 5th or 6th. It's 5th. Fight for 5th. Cami and AlphaTauri P6, Supernova P7, Team Red P8, both Alpines ahead of anyone in the current P5 fight. Alfa Romeo, Thomas DG P9, Snoopy P10 for Williams, someone to look out for. Burt P11, Roy P12, Smidge P13, Dino P14, Process P15, Happy P16, and the other McLaren P17. Holy, I did not read that in time. But just a quick reminder, Alpine, Williams, Red Bull and Haas. Those are the drivers you're looking out for. Alpine has the starting advantage. They start ahead of any drivers currently in the field, and Haas are at a disadvantage with only one driver. Other than that, it's for the race to decide what happens now. It's all out of their hands as we go under the dark blanket of Singapore at night, my favourite circuit. And boy, has this held some good races in the past. I think Luke, a surprise winner. What a race that was. I think I was the one that commentated that. If not, it was the other commentator. And whoever did it was amazing commentary. If it was me, then it probably wasn't as amazing, but you get the point. Amazing surprise winner. Unless that was something else, something new. There's been so many good races for me in so many leagues over Singapore. And I can't wait to add another one to the books. This could be a championship winning race for David. It could be a race which decides what happens to P5 in the championship. But let's find out. Here we go. 5 red lights. And we go racing around Singapore. Josh gets a pretty good start off the bat. Getting ahead is Lazy onto David into turn 1. It's going to be tight, but Lazy gets ahead. David P3, Mamba in P4, Wechi P5, Supernova in P6, Cami P7, Team Red staying in P8. There was some position drop there from a Williams. Snoopy into P9, McLaren there climbing up the field up 4 positions. That's unbeaten sign. That is what McLaren do. In those situations, Oechi sadly dropping 1 place on the opening lap. Let's keep an eye out at the front. Josh pulling away a little bit, but Lazy not letting go. He knows that if he can get a car between him and David, it is a critical step in him making sure he can make up 10 points on David. And 1 position at the top, the gaps between the points larger at the top, smaller at the bottom. So he knows 1 car between him now is actually a pretty key step for this race, and Mamba could be adding to it very close on the rear there of David through that corner. Very close. Let's take a quick look at tyre strategy. It's hard and it's mediums for most of the grid. It's about a 50-50 split. Take a look for your favorite driver there, if you so desire. But we've got racing to get back to. There's all their side by side going in to the turn through to final turn complex, sort of all with a bit slide there from Lazy. Was ahead and stays ahead by the skin of his teeth. A little bit slidey though on those cold mediums, but they should be up to temperature now. But Josh still hot on his heels, I assume. We'll start seeing a gap pulled there. David probably a bit frustrated knowing now that he's got a car buffer to work his way through, and he's got a car hot on his heels too of Mamba. Oechi falling off a bit with Supernova behind for Mercedes. Lazy could use his teammate up towards the front, helping him out here, pick out these top cars in this fight. Cami not too far off Supernova. Team Red P8 for Alpine. Alpine currently 4 and 8. Best scoring out of those teams in the top 5. Roy P9 for Haas, doing a solid job on his own. We'll need to fight Team Red though, and I think that will be a very interesting fight to keep an eye on. Ferrari, Burmeister up into P10, up into the point scoring. I assume we'll see him climb up. Williams, P11 and P14 outside the points. Dino, P12. and Smidge P7. Red Bull outside the points. Red Bull and Williams fighting into the points after Burr's made a small mistake. I've given him commentator's curse. Poor lad. But Red Bull now up into the points with Williams on the heels. And another Williams a little bit further down the road. And the other team fighting for us. Yes, Haas. We've already gone over them. P9. It'll be grasping at straws for those ones. Alpine pretty comfortable at the minute. DRS enabled. But it will get a bit hectic later on in this race, I feel, when we get to pit stops. Top commentating sharp today. It's my favourite circuit, what can I say? If you make every race Singapore, this is what you get. It's bringing me back. But no, here we go. It's because I'm actually aware of what's going on. It's very weird. I don't know. But no, let's take a look up and down the grid. We've got here a little a Hamby, no, a Fine, sorry, spinning out a Red Bull. Red Bull plummet down the order, and I think Smidge thought he could make a move, and he's actually just conceded 2 positions for that move. Very unlucky, but he's trying to get it back down the straight. I think he's got a very high top speed setup on, because that was very rapid gains down the straight, which could be a reason of concern for the other drivers. It could also be an issue. Roy eating Mike in the next 3 laps, says Sondre. I don't like the way you're talking about my driver. But no, Sondre, Haas boy, cheering on his fellow teammate against my driver in the Aston. I nearly said Aston, Jesus Christ. In the Alpine. I hope Roy stays away from him. To let the world know, Roy has had a cup of tea, and he says if he does well, he blames it on the cup of tea, and if he does bad, he blames it on the cup of tea. So either way, I think I'm getting stereotyped, because the first thing what happened when we joined the little like pre-drivers call, oh, you'll never guess what I'm drinking tea. A little bit further up the road, let's check the situation. Lazy pulling a massive gap away from David. David has managed, though, to get round Josh. Pretty important step early on in this race. He didn't want to get bogged down by the other cars, but it has let him build a deficit. But the point deficit is not where Lazy wants it to be. He's going to have to hope for strategical miracles or pray on David's downfall, which honestly, most viable strat right now, preying on another driver's downfall. Actually maintaining his 1 position loss, but is keeping up well with Mamba. Mamba, however, falling away from the top 3 a little bit there. And I'm waiting for this moment. Show tier strategy. I think you mean tire strategy. But yes, here are the tires. It's about 50-50 split. Hards to mediums. My usual strategy guy, Burr, he's on mediums. I think he might try and pull a medium soft. I think the hards will go hard soft. Mediums will probably be medium hard. It'll be very risky to go anywhere near the soft tire. But honestly, the soft tire around Singapore is a sight to behold. And if anyone pulls it off, I'll be forever grateful. But I assume the only one you really care about, Roy on the mediums and Team Red currently on the mediums. Snoopy Dread, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and the other Williams driver also, I assume, has 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Not looking good for Williams, considering they're in the fight. They've got a Red Bull right behind Process, and oh my god, that's not the first time we've seen cars get very close through there. And it will not be the last. Through some of these braking zones, these cars get insanely close. I think there may have been a small accident on the road there that I might have just missed out on. So I have to keep checking back here. Team Red and Roy, this could be the battle of the night. One has, though, tonight. I wonder where the other one is in my chat by the looks of it. Haas at the number disadvantage where they score big and Alpine somehow fumble the bag. It could be a big night for them. The other drivers currently for that top 5 fight in the constructors. Sorry, in the fight for 5th place, not the top 5. That is a bit incorrect of me. All trying to grasp at straws for points right now. But currently Alpine strong with Mamba P4. Gap pulled. Either way, I'm actually sort of lost a bit of time behind. Supernova 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. Very unfortunate for him. And Burr, not really doing anything at the minute, but I'm just keeping an eye on him. Just because I like to keep my eye on Burr. He pulls some stuff out of the bag when I'm not looking. It's sort of like Schrodinger's cat. If you don't look at him, he could be in first, he could be in last. Saving the planet, recycling aluminum. Way, we love that. That's what he's doing. But he's also sat in my chat, listening to the race because he cares about his teammate, and that alone is respect. And then saving the planet, double respect. Let's see what's going on here. AlphaTauri, sorry, a Mercedes, an AlphaTauri, and an Alpine, and a Haas all walk into a bar. What happens next, we don't know. We're going to find out what happens next here between these 4. That was a horrible joke. It wasn't even a joke. I just said a joke without a punchline. Thomas DG, 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. Supernova, though, pulling away from the pack, it would seem a little bit Cammy, Team Red, and Roy. All sort of within fighting distance, so let's see how this plays out down the straight. Roy getting ever closer to the backside of that Alpine. Probably getting a little frustrated. He's been behind it for 7 laps. I'd like to think in his head he's getting a little bit frustrated. Team Red as a driver, very competent. We've had a retiree in the pit lane though. No incident, no safety car. We'll be continuing the race, but Williams down to 1 driver now to score in the points. Alpine looking forever in their favour. Been slowed down a bit in the corner. Has Team Red after an overtake on Supernova. Supernova though a little bit compromised due to the overtake. Could lead for a possible overtake for the Haas. Excuse me. The Alpine putting car in between the Haas would be pretty big, but there is very slowly a threat emerging behind all of this of Burmeister. And Hamby, 2 pretty quick drivers would breeze their way through this fight and knock one of these drivers, Roy or Team Red, assuming they get passed down, into P10, which would not be outside of P10, which is outside the points, which would not good for anyone. And it's a fight for the points for an Alpine and a Haas. But we'll see how this one plays out. Cammy pulling away in the AlphaTauri. Solid job from him to get that move done. Wasn't an easy overtake, and it wasn't too horrible of an overtake either in terms of shoving the other driver into a wall. So congratulations to him for that one. But no, he's doing a good job. Roy, all of a sudden just gained 3 places. I don't know what happened there, or was it someone below him? I think it was someone below him. I think Burr and Hamby may have had a small swap back and forth, which may have caused me to mistakenly think that. I thought, Team Red, little drifty out the corner, lets Roy past, gets a little bit put under pressure after that Haas, been putting under pressure for the last 7 laps. The pressure finally mounted for Team Red, and sadly concedes the position, but he hasn't quite let go of the Haas just yet. But the Haas is getting a lovely tow here from the Mercedes. He's going to pull out nearly to the side of the Mercedes into the sling. He rethinks his decision, very wise. Ooh, Mercedes clips the sling there just a little bit on the inside. Hasn't picked up a puncture, seems to be okay. Just a little bit of a compromised exit maybe. Team Red taking a slightly different tighter line through there. Maybe a little bit better grip on exit. Very close here. Burr has been caught up. There's been a little accident with McLaren. I think it's actually, Alfa Romeo and a McLaren through that very tight corner. Braking zones through there always cause a little bit of a problem. Team Red is right in between a very compact set of cars now. This is something he said he wanted to work on. And he's so far coping very well. And Roy, little bit of a jolt there down the inside, looking a bit defensive from Nahas there, and Supernova currently leading the charge. All it takes is one of these cars to spin out, and we have a catastrophe on our hands. Don't let that be the case, though. Commentator's curse is not a nice thing. Looking at the front, Lazy is gaining quite a lot on David. I think David actually made it past. Roy is past Supernova just, and he actually has put a car in between him and Team Red. Burr does also get past Team Red, and Burr's gonna let him back through as well as Hamby. Maybe a questionable overtake from Burr happened, and he felt a bit bad, giving the position back. Respectful driving, very well done, Burr. Love to see that from you. But Roy up into 7th now for Haas. Pretty good point scoring for that top 5, for that 5th position in the championship fight. Supernova's retired. It's been a crash on track. That might have to be a safety car. It seems to be in a pretty okay spot, but that's usually not the case. I think that might have been just Burr just clipping into the wall. He's found a place to pull over. It isn't a crashed out car. I think he's just retired on track. We usually don't allow that in the league. We usually say you have to, if you're going to retire, pull into the pits and do so. But he has just retired on track. That might be something I bring up to the stewards, just to maintain league fairness. I usually bring up anything I do see that doesn't get pointed out. Burmeister, 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. A little bit of not too much to worry about now, but maybe coming into the upper positions, a little bit of something to worry about when the cars get a bit closer and he's fighting for like tenths and little bits of time. That penalty surely won't be helping him. Long run wise. Oh, Alpine. What has happened? Oh, Supernova disconnected and he's DNF'd, which is not an ideal thing, I don't think. I don't think that worked out for Supernova. And then, of course, what's just happened there with Team Red? He has just lost the car into a wall, unfortunately. Unfortunately for Alpine, bringing a Red Bull and a Williams in front of that Alpine. And Williams, crucially, in the points now. I believe in him. He can get this done. He will have to pit. It is under VSC. And a few other cars are coming to pit under VSC. Lazy and Mamba. Crucially, Lazy. He's putting cars in between him and David. It is not him who has the point deficit to catch. But trying an alternate strategy to David could be a way, I think, to make sure he gets those points. And a lot of other cars coming in, I assume, for their tyre switch, hards to mediums, mediums to hards. It's way too early for softs right now. I think if you're on the mediums, this is a pretty good time to pit. But here we go green again on circuit. Team Red now has to face the Haas of Roy, Mamba, Williams further up into the points. So is Smidge. Mamba all the way back. He pits onto the hard compound. It's going to be interesting to see what Lazy has triggered here. And how this is going to affect his race, but also the race of those in the fight for 5th, because it means that they're going to be offset on strategy now because they're lower down. It's very interesting, very, very interesting. Let's see how the race plays out. I'm not going to try and be a fortune teller and say, oh, Lazy, he's going to get a pass for the lead on lap 21. And if that does happen, somebody clip it, but it probably won't. Lazy, a little bit of a bad exit there from Lazy, but I think he's just about recovered from Burr. But no, no, he has. He has just recovered from Burr there, and has done a good job at keeping that position. Burr up into 7th now after a slew of pit stops. I do like that word, a slew. Team Red, sort of in a race of his own right now. Open sort drive. Looking at the back end of the field, Dino. He is a couple tenths down. Lazy, sorry, not Lazy. God, Side. Is his only competition, but other than that, it's a long, lonesome road for these two. Looking at the front, David 5 seconds off Josh, who is a further 3 seconds off Awechi. Awechi currently in on podium. Very, very impressive from him. I think he did say one time that he is quite confident around Singapore, and Cammy as well. P4. AlphaTauri looking to finish strong in this race. Might bring him actually into that fight for 5th place, assuming that everyone else does disastrously. Yellow flag sector 2, and it is going to be a full course safety car. Whatever caused that. Those who pitted under the VSC maybe at a slight disadvantage. David's probably sighing with a relief because he realizes, oh look, I can pit now. And you save more time under a safety car than you do a VSC, but Team Red drive-through penalty for him. Very unfortunate for them and for Alpine. Very, very sad. I shed a tear. It is okay. You got this, Team Red. I believe we'll come back. But yes, everyone is coming in. Cammy 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Lazy back up into contention, into 1st on those hard tires. A late safety car might be what he's thinking about right now. He's thinking, maybe, is he thinking about a late safety car? I mean, if there is a late safety car, you go on to softs anyways. Is that even a question? But those hards, it's going to be a bit of a stretch to get him all the way to the end of this race, I think. And I think he might be thinking about that too. But honestly, it's not impossible. Lazy has driven some long stints before, and it could just be one of those races where he has to pull it out. But with David right behind him, he's going to need to go all out now and make those tires last later. Because if we look at the age of those tires, they're still quite new. They're not going to be in their optimal window for pulling away against David's mediums. Who get in their optimum window a lot quicker. So I think he might just have to concede that position to David. And also Snoopy hasn't stopped. Very interesting strategy from him staying on the hards. But it has propelled him up into 3rd place in that Williams. But I think he might get bogged down by all these new mediums and newer hards when they all fling up to 10th. And he is eventually going to have to pit. So maybe a small mistake there from Williams, a strategy oversight? I don't know. I don't like to say strategy oversight because honestly, it could just be a strategy I don't see. In fact, might work better than the one I currently envision in my head. But it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. And again, with AlphaTauri, they were quite strong. Currently 4th and 8th, not too bad from them. Alpine, Mamba back up into 5th. And Team Red just outside the points, P11 out of the points to a Red Bull. He desperately wants that position back to try and bring himself back into the points, to score some points for Alpine. And Roy, I think his sights currently set onto Mamba, because he knows if he finishes ahead of Mamba, he is only one car, but he can pull a decent chunk of points away from Alpine. He can gain more net points than he would if he was in a lower position. And what has happened with Team Red? What has happened? He's pulled. Oh, he had to serve a drive-through. Okay, so I take that back. There is a lot of cars ahead of Team Red. Unfortunately, for him, he's going to have to try and make this a comeback race. And and try his best. And I know he will. He will do his best. It's very unfortunate we picked up that drive-through, as well as the crash with the front wing. But it happens. I think he knows that that is what happens, and he's going to come back from it, and he's going to try his best. That's all I ever ask of him, that he tries his best. But the safety car period should be coming to a close very soon. Right. So everyone's priorities. Lazy needs to build a gap to David. Lazy needs to build a gap to David while trying to minimize the damage that David wants to do to the point deficit. Snoopy wants to hold his P3, Mamba wants that P3, and Roy wants Mamba's position. The other Williams is out the race. He is the sole Williams. And Red Bull have a net of 1 point currently. So it's currently, I believe, Alpine who might be... No, Alpine. It's Williams who are scoring the most. Each team only has one car in the points. And the safety car is in this lap. Let's see what's going to happen. How is Lazy going to pull away to minimize the damage from David? Let's see how he goes. And that's it. There he goes. He's gone. He's put a little bit of time away. Snoopy behind. Getting side by side with the AlphaTauri. Sliding on up into P... Oh, sorry. Sliding down and sliding around. A very crucial mistake there from Williams. Putting Snoopy all the way down into P15. Mamba takes P4, but has a Roy challenging it. Currently in P7, I think lost a place to Cammy there on the opener. Everyone's all bunched up together again. And it's going to be, another spinner. Burmeister says, you spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby. Right round, right round. And he's in the Ferrari as well. That is the Spinella machine. But no, Lazy managing 4/10 currently to David. He's going to have to try and hard that off over a couple of laps. And Josh not too far behind David. These two sort of known to work together a little bit. Ex-teammates and all. I believe they might have communication. I do not know. But they do work together a tad. So it would not be impossible for them to help each other out here. And Mamba, 1.3 behind Josh, currently at the lead of a little train of his own, including rival Roy. So I think he might need to think about getting a little bit of a shimmy on, but making sure those tyres get preserved, because I think those are new hards. And Team Red gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Unfortunately, again, is going to come in, I think. I don't see anything wrong with the car, unless we're just serving another drive-through. Did we have 2 drive-throughs? Burmeister has retired on track. I think it was a crash, and it is going to cause another safety car. And Team Red gets a 5-second time penalty for crossing the pit lane exit white line. Unlucky for Team Red, those penalties really stacking up. And it's not something he wants. 50th second time penalties. And he's speeding under the safety car. He's come to a complete stop. And he still gets the penalty. The safety car in this game is a bit buggy, but it's just been very unlucky race from Team Red. Alpine will welcome him in to the pit lane, hopefully, as he finishes with open arms, and with understanding of what the race he's had. In other news, the current situation in the top 2 in the fight for number 1 in the drivers, Lazy, David, currently right next to each other. Lazy did okay on the first restart, managing to stay ahead, but now has a second restart to contend with. And what is that I've just witnessed? And he's going to give that position back. Thank you. Mamba in P4 let you P5 high scoring car in the points at the minute. Each car, as I said, I think I take that back because it's Mamba for Alpine, Roy for Haas in P7, and Red Bull and Williams all outside the points. And I believe the two that are currently tied with the most is Alpine and Haas. Is Alpine and Haas 43 apiece, Williams and Red Bull 40 apiece. So I think it's going to be very tight, with one Alpine in contention and one Haas in contention. Theoretically, two Alpines. Whether or not the other one's going to be able to make up a 15-second time penalty and a current P12. Is he racing? It looks like he's racing that Red Bull under the safety car. I think it's just because he's so far back. He's just trying to get a little bit of a slipstream. But Smith is probably worrying for his life. But no. Also, I don't know what on earth McLaren do with their strategy. They retire, and they still somehow end up in the point. I don't know if they're just trying to make the race more interesting. If after they won last season, they're like, yeah, we're just going to retire, you know, at the start of qualifying, do a last to first. You know how it is. I don't know why or how they can manage that, but they do. And they do it every race, it seems. And they do a good job. So, yes. I hope everyone is having a lovely day. I hope everyone's having a lovely Easter. I hope you're all enjoying your lovely meals that you all had for lunch or maybe even now for dinner. I do not know what you could, maybe you call it tea, or maybe you call it, I don't know, maybe you call it something else in a language I don't know. And there seems to have been a little bit of no, not an incident. Cammy is going to pull into the pit lane, and so is Team Red. Why would this be? Serving, I think, a 10-second stop go, a 5-second stop go. Mediums on for Team Red. Cammy on with, those aren't softs, are they? No, they are mediums. I am just making sure. And the racing will get underway, I think, this lap. So, Andre, if you're still hanging about, Roy, P6 now. Mamba, P4. Haas and Alpine tied on points. What's your opinion? How do you think this is going to affect this race and, of course, going into the final race? If you're about, please answer that lovely question I have just posed to you. If not, you keep recycling and saving the planet from aluminum or aluminium. I personally say aluminium. But yes, I am British. I am weird. I know. Anyway, let's get going. I think this lap we are going to go get racing. We're just coming through the sling now. Take a look at that Aston Martin safety car. I know a good old commentating friend of mine loves a good shot of the safety car. There you go. He would be absolutely loving that. Yeah, we've had me and him have had some good sessions around Singapore. I can remember quite a few of them. I can't remember a lot of the races I commentate, but I can remember a few of them. Maybe partly why it's one of my favourite circuits as well. But we'll see. We will see what happens going on down here. Lazy then, trying to again minimize damage from David. Let's see what he's going to pull. From the start, he's going to be a bit predictable, letting it off through the corner, still manages to pull a little bit of a gap away from David. Josh behind, I think, is trying, I can't tell if he's trying to stay behind or if he's just struggling a little bit, but might have been asked to stay behind just a little bit, to make sure that David can slide on by a little easier. And then it is Mamba, Oechi, Roy. Look at all the barrage of cars coming through. Um, Perfect VSC pit, unlucky with the first safety car. Hold on, let me read this. Perfect VSC pit, unlucky with the first safety car. Lucky with second, but a couple of points are in the line. Hamby and Sign are looking strong behind them. They are, except for the fact, for somehow, while I've been looking away, Sign has fallen down to P14. So it is just Hamby behind. So Hamby's going to be putting the pressure on Roy. Mamba, hopefully, is staying cool, calm, and collected. Owechi behind there, Josh ahead. Already pulled about a second though, has Josh. David and Lazy from Mamba. Maybe playing a little bit of conservative race on those hard tyres. Let's get a quick look at the tyre situation actually. Here you go. And Mamba has just conceded a place there to Owechi down the straight. Lovely little move, nice and tidy. It's Cammy on the newest tyres, 1 lap old mediums. Those will definitely go to the end. Some of these tyres I definitely question if they'll go to the end. But speaking of Cammy, he sadly has just picked up a 3-second time penalty. And Sandra says RIP unbeaten 07. So LNR Williams down in P14 with a broken off end plate. I wonder how that happened. So Singapore has claimed 3 victims, Burmeister, Nova, and Sign, and we've had a couple of speeders in the pit lane, caution in sector 3. I think one of those, who is it in the pit lane? I can't tell. It's a Williams. Oh, the Williams retiring, okay. They're in, Singapore has claimed 4 victims. More penalties will come. So let's hope nothing for Haas. Roy stayed pretty clean. He's kept his nose clean. He hasn't really. He's not one to pick up a lot of penalties. Nor is Mamba one to pick up a lot of penalties. But now there is no longer a car between Mamba and Roy. And it's again Haas versus Alpine, round 2. Haas wins out the first Alpine fight. Let's see how it does against the second. Roy on his lucky tee. And but Hamby also behind. He might be the one to split this fight up. Say, nuh-uh, you two, we're putting this fight on hold. Your fight's scheduled for next week, not today. But no. We'll see how this one goes down between Roy and Mamba. David, I keep missing these overtakes for the lead, but David has again slidden past Lacey for the lead and has pulled a 1-second gap. And Lazy will be fighting for his life now to keep that place, but Josh will desperately be trying to get in between him, and that's what he's about to do here, down into sector 2, and he does it with ease. And not much fight back from Lazy, but that's sort of what you get at Singapore. Not too much fighting back. It comes a bit later in the lap. Does the switchbacks, but a little bit of a poor exit there. From Lazy, giving Josh a little bit more room through the sling to work with. I love this heli shot through the sling. Break the ice and early, make sure you get the corner around, no tyre lock. Beautiful from everyone there. But yes, Lazy. Losing out 2 positions there, unfortunately. Not what he wants, but what David desperately needs, a car between him and Lazy to minimise that point net gain. You want to look at tyres again, Sondre? Here you go. Here's your tyres. A lot of people moved off the hards now. You've got 10 more laps of this race. The hards will last maybe 20 laps. It's a bit of a stretch, but not entirely impossible. I have seen it done before. And the mediums, some of these mediums are not doing 20 laps. Sign will definitely need to pit. But I think he might pit for softs. Thomas DG gaining a position there on Roy. Hamby and Thomas DG in between Roy and Mamba. Roy has been just sent to the Shadow Realm in the context of the Alpine fight and the Haas fight. But he's now got to fight 2 Red Bulls. 2 Red Bulls in the points here. and they want a bit. They want a few more points. With both Williamses out of contention, you've only got 2 Red Bulls, an Alpine, two Alpines, 2 Red Bulls, and a Haas. Haas are at the disadvantage. Haas is drastically outnumbered. And Roy, has he got a little bit of damage? No. He seems to be going a little bit fast. Josh will drop. What do you mean Josh will drop? I don't know what you're saying about Josh will drop. I'm just going to trust the process. Oh, you want about his tyres? Yeah. Ooh, Red Bull got past there. Got a bit out of shapey. Though, back down to P10 for them. The 2 Red Bulls in formation, attacking at this Haas like it's a dead bird on the floor. And they are just crews trying to eat it on up. Ooh, again, the Red Bulls. They're like getting right up on that gearbox. Penalties and tyres. You are right. Penalties. Yeah, I completely forgot about them. That Red Bull breezing on by. I'm convinced the Red Bulls are running a little bit more faster straight line speed setup, especially down the straights. Round here, I definitely prefer a little bit more downforce because at the end of the day, that's what gets you rotated through the corners. It's what gets you on the nice exits. And we've seen cars spin out. I think we've even seen a couple of the Red Bulls spin out down the straights. But if you could pull off a high-speed setup, it works. A little bit shoved off track there was Roy from Smidge. But Smidge and Dino up into P8, P9, Roy P10. Not what you want. I think Red Bull outscored Roy, definitely now. Whether or not they did when Roy was ahead is a different question. Alpine of Mamba lost out of position to Hamby, driving pretty carefully. But if he keeps driving pretty carefully, he's going to get caught up by 2 very, very fast Red Bulls in a straight line. Who do have penalty. Well, one of them has a penalty, but they are very quick in a straight line. It's something to be careful of, and Awechi takes back a position from Josh. I think he's had a little bit of a moment because his car's currently ghosted. That or he's disconnected. I can't tell. There's a McLaren that's had a little bit of a moment there in P12 in a little no man's land. I think Josh might be in AI mode because the other cars are catching up pretty quick, and he's losing a lot of time. So I think that's very unfortunate timing. When Sondre said Josh would drop, I don't think he meant this much, and this quickly. But it has happened. And the AI isn't very racy. The AI difficulty for this league is about 30. So if you pause, it is a disadvantage. We don't really like people just pausing and their AI winning out. But here we go. Yeah, really unfortunate here for Josh, whether he's disconnected or whether he's paused or whatever. Roy defends Roy defends like a cone. That has made my day, Sondre. I will let him know. I will pass that message on. Your teammate says you defend like a cone. That is actually hilarious, Sondre. That is actually hilarious. And yeah, here we go. Josh is back, but he is all the way down in P9, unfortunately. And it has really not helped his case. And we have claimed another victim to Singapore sign, unfortunately crashing out there, leaving Team Red in a massive state of no man's land. I do feel bad for him. But hopefully, maybe, there is a chance with a couple more crashing outs, he could score a point or two. He's currently preying on other people's downfalls. Mamba and Thomas DG in a little bit of a fight. Mamba, he seems to be going a bit slower. His tyres might be wearing out a little bit. Those mediums, though, should be wearing out more, arguably. They're sort of getting out of their range. They should be out of their range of activity, and the Hards should be in their range of activity. So this is sort of the opposite of what I expected to be happening. Um, Maybe setup difference would probably be the best explanation for that. But anyway, Thomas gets past Mamba and does so quite nicely. Hamby in P4. How does he do this? How? If he gets on the podium, I need to ask him. And ooh, Karma strikes unlucky. Thomas down into no man's land. P11. We're not really in no man's land. No man's land is where Team Red is right now. And the front wing has somehow stayed intact. And I think Team Red has not. Very unfortunately. But he needs to try and stay in this race, I think. Because I think a couple more DNFs is what he needs. And I think he might get that pit stop from Mamba. Getting off those mediums. I don't know why. Does he not feel good on those mediums? Because that's really interesting. Yes! If anyone was going to do it, it was going to be one of my own. Soft tires for Mamba. You love to see it. If anyone was going to do it, it was going to be one of my own. Josh picks up a drive-through penalty for speeding under VSC, but he's already pretty much in no man's land. He's going to further that state further. The two Red Bulls have slid up to 5th and 6th. They're currently scoring the most in this top 5. The tear in my mouth. In the fight for 5th place. They are doing wonders. They've pulled an absolute ball. Let me look at that side pod again. Looks like there's a giant hole in it. No. Excuse me. I thought there was a giant hole in one of the Red Bull's side pods. Team Red has unfortunately retired from this race. You hate to see it, especially when my own drivers. It was a good drive from you, Team Red. You honestly did amazing. Just some things didn't go our way. A couple penalties, couple spins. It is okay. We've got one more race, and we'll try and make that one your best race yet. Mamba then on the soft compound tires. Like I said, if anyone was gonna go on a soft run, it was gonna be one of my own. However, he is in no man's land. So was it really worth it? Maybe. I get to see some soft tire action at Singapore. But it is we are very far from everyone else, and Red will outscore us. And Roy is currently ahead of us. Safety car! Pray on a safety car. Let's take a look at the front situation. Get my mind off this top 5 battle for a little bit. David, currently P1. Lazy, not too far behind, 6.6 seconds. Alechi, right behind him, though. We'll need to try and pull a miracle off here. Lazy's trying to outscore David. David's going to need to literally crash, burn, capsize, which is not something you really want to manifest. We have lost an Alfa Romeo of Thomas G. It seems like no safety car, however. You should have stayed, Team Red. No! You should have tried to stay. Ooh. Josh in for a pit stop. Mamba's going to gain a position. AlphaTauri went from having such a strong race to such a... Oh, he's serving a drive-through, that's why. AlphaTauri went from having such a strong race to being 9th and 10th, which are points, but currently last of the running cars. And the Red Bulls are currently swapping positions around and about. They're in a little bit of a fight of their own, but this is how accidents happen. And this could be what Roy and Mamba are sort of looking for here. An absolute massacre between the two Red Bulls. Cue my Imola. Cue my Imola joke with David and Josh, who are currently still in this race. And will hate the fact that I constantly bring that up. But Imola. Imola incident. Should have named my fantasy F1 team for MVP that. I should have named it Imola Incident. That would have been really funny. Can I change it? Is it too late? Can I change my F1 fantasy name to the Imola Incident? I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try after this race. I'm gonna try and change my fantasy F1 team name to the Imola Incident. And then if anyone else asks, I'll just be like, if you know, you know. I never let him live it down. I never let him live it down. Roy, quite off the Red Bulls, and Mamba gaining 2 seconds on Roy in the span of that lap. Go on, lad. Just don't let those softs explode. That's the only thing you don't want to happen. Owechi right on behind of Lazy. Owechi on for another podium. I think this will be his like second podium. And he doesn't get them often. But he's getting them more often now. I think he had his first one not too long ago. He had one like ages and ages ago. But he's been picking them up a bit more regularly now. And even though this, I think this is our last, probably going to be our last full season on this game. He's had a good run this season. And even at the end of last season, he was having a bit of a good run. And he's still having a bit of a good run. So, my props. Best improved driver, Oechi. Well done. You've earned yourself that title. Most improved. Congratulations. Much wow, much respect. However, Hamby's gonna give you a run for your podium. Let's see if you can keep it. And oh my god, he's giving you a run for your podium, getting 2/10 from that corner. Let's check in on the impending doom for Roy. Let's look in Roy's rearview mirror. What? You just saw him for a second in the rear view. It's a little jump scare. Wow. And oh, that was not nice timing for Mamba. 3-second time penalty. Not gonna be looking good. For an overtake on Roy. Roy keeping clean of penalties. Sondre is probably very happy about that one, aren't you? Alpine picking up a penalty at the wrong time. Was the softs pit stop too gambly? Did I tell him to pit for softs? Is this race all scripted and I'm just reading off a script and I'm just metagaming right now? Maybe. How would you script it? How would you script a race? I like the WWE and stuff, that's all scripted. Like, most of the time it's scripted. How do you script something like this, though? Ooh, Hamby 3 seconds. Oechi's rejoicing. Lazy maybe not as much. I think, right, don't entirely, like, take this as fact. If Oechi can get in between Lazy and Hamby, no, sorry, if Oechi can get in between Lazy and David, I think David will win the championship. I think. I don't know. I know if David gets fastest lap point right now, I think he might win. Again, that's a very much I think. Oh, and it's the last lap. So it's now or never, Oechi. A time for you to send it, and also same for you, member. Now or never. To send it on Roy. I think though, it is going to be Red Bull taking away the maximum amount of points. For this Grand Prix in that top 5 fight. They are in the bottom half of that top 5 though. So they are going to get propelled up just a little bit. But it is not what It is not what the other teams want to hear. But they've just been jumped. And Roy, this lone car, has done the best he can. But at the end of the day, he can only do so much. And I think we're going to fact check this in a moment. But David's going to come across the line and potentially win out the World Championship. Hamby and Lazy are side by side. Don't crash out now. Just play it safe. Owechi gets it on track. And also gets it with the security of the time penalties. Lazy finishes P2. Smidge is going to come across the line. Ooh, P6. Dino P5. Smidge P7, sorry. Roy P6. Mamba's gonna reverse across the line. In style. That's how I raise my drivers. To finish with pizzazz. Aston Martin from a blinder to a stinker. It's still points though, so we gotta commemorate that fact. Good job to them. David, Lazy, and Owechi. Let me get her in here. And let me get someone to do the maths for me. Because I have a feeling we need to determine something. We need to determine if we if someone's won a championship or not here. Hamby Little gets driver of the day. Congratulations to him. And let me just quickly recap thing as David gets another podium celebration screen. Look at him waving. Look at him all smug and waving on the podium, shaking that guy's hand, raising this generic ass F1 trophy. Anyway, I'm going to stop slamming him before he joins. David takes P1 for the team of Aston Martin. Well done. And Lazy P2. Ooh, wait, hold on. The fight's still on. I think the fight is still on. I believe. The point difference is less than 10. So the battle continues to the final race. Owechi P3, Hamby P4, Dino P5 for Red Bull, Roy P6, Smidge P7, Red Bull taking away the biggest point yield, Mamba P8, Cammy P9, Josh P10, Thomas P11, Team Red P12, Sign P13, Snippy P14, Bellmeister P15, Nova P16, and Process P17. Red Bull gained the most points in the battle for P5, and the final of the top two continues on into the final race. Hello, David.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. I will just wait. Here's Owechi. Here he is. Hold on, he's loading. And we are waiting on Lazy, right? Hello, Owechi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
Good.
Right, we're just waiting on one, I believe. But then we'll start with you, Owechi, when he gets here. Or if he doesn't get here, let me send him another invite. He's probably trying to do complicated maths right now. Oh no, there he is. Here he is. Right. Okay, we'll start with Owechi there. Oh, hi, Owechi. You've cropped up a couple of times this season with podium finishes. So first of all, good job.
I think actually it was last year. This might be my first one.
Oh, is it? It does not feel like your first one. God. Well, congratulations anyway. Solid drive from you. Especially towards the end in qualifying, you looked pretty strong. And of course your race performance, but tell us a little bit about all of that then yourself.
Yeah, I expected to be quite fast in the quali. And yeah, I think I was like 4th or 5th. That was pretty much what I expected.
Mm.
And yeah, the race was good. I had good race pace. In the beginning, a couple of times, almost lost the rear, and I noticed my tire temperatures were quite high. They were like 110. So maybe I had a little bit too much pressure, and that took it a bit easier. But yeah, I was in a comfortable situation, not too many cars behind.
Yeah,
and
pretty
after
comfortable.
the safety cars, I always was able to kind of follow the guys up front, use the DRS, and didn't have pressure from the back until the very last.
Until the very last laps, yeah.
Yeah, where Hamby, I was pushing so hard to stick with Lazy. I even thought at some point he might have gave me the DRS. I don't know.
Maybe.
But, maybe we'll find out soon. But yeah, I was trying to really stick with him, but the tires were almost dead. It felt like I tried to lean on the tires, but it felt like they were just rolling.
Yeah,
but
some people were doing some very long stints. You weren't the only one trying to pull off a pretty long stint.
Until the end, so.
Yeah, I mean, even on the last lap into the final corner, who was it behind you? Was it Hamby? That was it. He was trying to have a little bit of a go at you, and I was just like, "Don't crash it! He's got a penalty. Just be careful."
I noticed it.
But no, you know what you're doing. And no, you as well with your team, you score pretty well. You're, I think, a solid fourth. Maybe a small possibility to catch McLaren. Maybe, I say maybe. I can't do the maths that quickly in my head. You've definitely got fourth, I'll tell you that much. But third, maybe in question, might just be out of reach. But either way, you've done a good job. And drivers-wise for you, it's Sign who's ahead of you, then Burr. So Burr crashed out. Sign was also, I think, crashed out. And then I think you might not catch Burr, but I think you might get a little bit of an edge on Sign. It might be you versus Sign into the last race of the season.
Yeah, he's quite around my pace, I would say.
Who do you think you got it? You think Sign. You can get him?
Unbeaten Sign. I don't know. I don't. We'll see. Maybe. But I gotta give credit to Samu as well, who drove for Ferrari the first 5 races, because I took his place after he had to go. So credit for him as well.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on your result. And for your team as well. Do you have anything you want to say to the masses before I let you free?
Well, one question. Did David win the championship? I guess he did.
I do not think so, unless any of the other two want to pipe up and correct me.
Didn't he have quite a big lead?
I think he has, yeah.
You think he has?
He had quite a big lead.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, congrats to David.
Yeah, thanks.
Great driving this season.
Yeah, good. GG on the podium. Great driving.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Moechi.
Thank you.
See you around.
See ya.
So, right, before I get on to the next interview, so he has won the championship or he hasn't won it?
I do, I think, yeah.
You
Pretty
think
sure
you...
he has, yeah.
I thought, no, because I thought you scored 18 and then he scored 23.
Yeah, but Mark had to outscore me by 10 points.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, he's won it.
Yeah, he's won it. So, first of all, as a race interview, hello, Lazy. Congratulations on the P2. I thought I remembered you saying you liked Singapore. So it is a beautiful track. Qualifying, a little bit of a struggle at the start, I think, but you got there, and then your race was pretty competitive. Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, quali wasn't the happiest. Messed up my first and final runs. Only got one good lap in.
Yeah.
The best, but once we went into the race, felt pretty good in the first stint. But I think really just the safety cars kind of took it away, took it out of my hands, and sit there and try and manage with the hard tires compared to the mediums. I think the 3 safety cars or whatever. You know, just kept consistent, kept up speed, and done the best I could at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you did a good job. Especially with the safety car restarts, especially you tried your best to keep ahead. I was trying to keep an eye on like two fights with the fifth in the constructors and also you guys at the front. So I sometimes miss some of your overtakes, but no, you had a proper scrap at the front at times. Was there sort of a little bit of strategy to try and get cars in between the both of you to try and like make sure that David couldn't outscore you?
I mean, I just wanted to get like a strong start. Try and get ahead, get space. Wanted to help out Josh to stay in the mix as long as he could, but don't think that went too well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like it was just a race of two halves. Safety cars came out. It was kind of not the strongest for me. Not the best position to be in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's the best position for anyone to be in. Considering your championship standing position as well. And on that, sadly, I think unless we're going to get proven wrong, but I don't think we are because I've already been proven wrong, you're mathematically out of it, but I think you pretty solidly P2. Unless AJ decides he wants to like pull out a blinder, but no. P2 in the standings confirmed, essentially. Unless AJ... Yeah, I'm going to say it's confirmed because he didn't race. Yeah, confirmed. How do you feel about that? And how do you think that's gone throughout your season?
Been a season of two halves.
For me, sorry.
No, not you. You wait, sir. You can wait.
Yeah, I was already paying attention. It was so silent, so I thought it was my question. Go on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's been a season of two halves. The first half of the season, really disappointed with it, but second half of the season's been pretty strong. I think I've been podium the last 4 races, won 2 of them, so doing solid, but just didn't get off to the best season. Disappointed that I'm not in the mix at the end of the season, but well done to Dave. He's had a good season, so
I mean,
you deserve it.
You're gonna owe it to the competition.
Exactly.
And constructors wise, I know Aston Martin have clenched it, but I think you guys definitely have a P2. I don't think McLaren's going to be catching you anytime soon. And how do you feel? Because I think you had 2 different drivers as your second driver.
Yes.
How do you think that's gone throughout your whole season?
It was always going to be tough when you have a driver switch mid-season, but I think P2 would be solid overall.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to shake a stick at, definitely. It's something quite remarkable. So yeah, congratulations on both of those. Congratulations on the P2. Condolences on the lack of championshipness, but will you still give it your all in your last race?
Oh yeah, have to. Might as well. Try and do as best as I can at the end of the day. So
take a little bit of the fame cake away from David.
We'll try.
Okay, I'll let you go, but congratulations, Lazy, and enjoy.
Thanks, appreciate it. I'll just shout out Josh as well. He had a strong race today.
Yeah, he did have a pretty strong race.
Beaten for a podium. So.
Yeah, well done to him. But yes, congrats. I'll let you go now. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Okay, David. Hello. Congratulations on the W. You can now answer questions. So, race was pretty strong. I think you got beaten out in qualifying by Josh. And then you sort of took that back in the race, but do you want to tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, qualifying, first 2 laps were pretty okay, and then the last, in my out lap, I thought Mitch was going to leave me past, then he started his lap. So that was a bit of a shame, because then I was in his direct TR for like the whole lap. But yeah, so I had to start second, okay start, had to leave Lazy by on his mediums, and then, yeah, so many things happened, to be fair, so I don't really know what happened anymore, but yeah, good first stint, and then it's virtual safety car. Now, I'm really happy to get the win and to clinch the championship again. So.
Yeah, of course. I have to mention it. You did win the championship, so champion of the world after a hiatus last season. I think you had it the season before that. Did you? I think. Did you? I want to say you
I
did.
I think I won both the championships on F122.
Think so.
Yeah, and last season I finished like 5th or 4th. So.
And then that was when Lazy and Mark won it. Then
Yeah.
no, yeah. No, Lazy and George. Sorry, God.
Yeah.
Lazy.
Yeah, I think
Lazy and
Lazy
Mark.
won it last year.
Yeah. But no, of course, you already dubbed the constructors a while ago, but I wasn't there to say it. But congrats on that as well.
I think we won the constructors today.
So maybe
we were like 79 points ahead of Mercedes, so they still had it in reach, but like it was pretty much over already. So yeah.
The message I got from Roy said Aston Martin has all but secured constructors. Essentially, he just thinks, I can't be asked to do the maths, they've probably got it. But no. Congrats on both of that. You're obviously world champion again after some time, and now constructors. Do you have any comments you want to make on that?
It's been a great consistent season. I think first half of the season has been a little bit better than the second half. Of course, I missed Canada 2 weeks ago and a pretty shit race in Zandvoort, but no, I think with 4 wins and a few podiums, I think pretty happy with the season I've had. So.
Yeah, I would be as well. Especially after like I remember last season. You weren't too confident on the game, and then this season you just sort of, bam, you're back at it, full strength. I
found my confidence more throughout the game because more experience with, of course, traction control fully off. I had that also. I started with it since this game, so last season was more a bit lack of experience, I think. But now it's gone really well. So.
Well, congrats on learning it all, but time to throw it all out the window. We're on to next game for next season, I think.
Yep.
So entirely new beast to tame.
I hope to continue my streak of winning a championship every game. So.
Yeah, of course.
That would be nice.
But yes, you got any comments before I let you go?
No, not really.
Not really. Well, congrats to you on your drivers and your constructors, and to AJ. And I hope you I hope you had a good Easter.
Yeah, same to you, man. Enjoy.
I'll let you go. Thank you, David. Enjoy.
Have a
good one too.
Alright, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you, Lazy. Thank you, Wechu. Thank you, David. But no, that's going to be it for us from Singapore. God, that's going to be one of the most fun I've had commentating in a hot minute. I've absolutely loved that. Yeah, I absolutely loved that. I haven't had a commentating that like fun in a while. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt like I was on my game. And even Sandra agrees. Anyway, thank you for joining us for round 9, season finale, round 10, next weekend, April 7th. Be there or be square. Championships decided, but there's still that fight for P5 in the championship, and there's still many other fights which I'm going to verse up on and learn for you all to be there to witness. And I'm going to also let Roy know that he defends like a cone. And yes, thank you all for joining us here today. I've had an absolute blast. Hope you guys have too. And I'll see you all next week. Not Singapore. I wish it was Singapore again. Abu Dhabi. See you next week. Have a good one. Have a good evening, everyone.